Now. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first session, our first IELTS speaking classes. This is a trial, so I hope it's successful, but we'll see. Firstly, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes,
So
teacher.
uh-huh. We are all strangers here, right? We haven't met each other before, so of course it's important for us to get to know something about each other. Now, when I meet people for the first time, I usually ask questions like, "What's your name? Where are you from?" Jewel, can you give me another simple question that we ask people when we meet for the first time?
Do you study or work?
Mm-hmm. Irina, can you give me another simple question?
Yeah. What are your hobbies?
Cool. And let's go to Darhan. You are muted, Darhan.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Tell me about your hometown, for example.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's like, where are you from, right? Where are you?
Yeah.
Add it there. Where are you from? Tell me about this place. Cool. Sinvi.
What's your favorite food? Probably.
Yeah, nice. And let's go to Russell.
What kinds of food popular in your city or country?
I see a lot of people want to talk about food today. What kind of food is popular in your city or country? Cool. And any other questions? Maybe we'll add just maybe 3 or 4 more questions. Anybody?
What are some popular places at your hometown, or where do you live? Like that.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of connected, isn't it, to where are you from or tell me about this place? But okay, that's fine. Any other questions?
Maybe
What do you
about
like to do
sports?
in your free time?
Sports, maybe.
Okay. What do you do in your free time? That's one. And there was also one about sport. Which question about sport?
What sports are popular in your country, for example?
Cool. I notice a lot of people are asking about like your city or your country. But of course, when I meet people, I don't know, maybe it's different. I don't usually say like what food is popular in your city or country. I usually say, what food do you like? Or instead of what sports are popular in your country, I usually ask like, I don't know, do you like sports?
Mhm.
Do you like sports, or what sports do you like? And we'll have just one more. So we want these personal questions. So instead of not about your country or your city, but about another person. Just one more. Can
How
okay,
about how
sorry.
about who is your favorite artist?
Yeah. Who's your favorite maybe artist or musician or author, something like this? Cool. So we have a nice set of questions. Now, I'm going to copy these questions. I'm going to put them in 2 places for you so you can see them. Firstly, I'm going to put them in our Zoom chat, if I can find it. 1 second. So I've put these questions in our Zoom chat. I've also put these questions in our Telegram chat, so it will be easy for you to find them. I am now going to put you into breakout rooms. So you will go and you will work with a partner. After about 2 minutes, I will switch the groups and you will work with a different partner, just so you have a chance to speak to a variety of people. Of course, we have these questions that we have on the board here. What's your name? Where are you from? Do you study? Do you work? What are your hobbies? You can use these questions if you like. But of course, if you want to use other questions, that's absolutely fine. But like I say, I will give you about 2 minutes with each person, and then I will mix you around a little bit. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Let's open those breakout rooms. Cool, and go. All right, so I was just writing a message to somebody there on Telegram, just to the group, to say that late admissions won't be allowed to enter, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to switch my camera off. I'm going to switch my microphone off, and I'm just going to jump in the breakout rooms. I'm going to listen to some of the candidates speak, and I'm just going to record any small mistakes I hear, not like with difficult grammar and things like this, just some of the most common basic mistakes. And then later, the candidates will have a chance then to review those mistakes. But let's see how the guys are doing.
Did my diploma in civil engineering. Besides that, I'm also involved with my father business.
Yeah,
But
are you
right,
currently studying or are you graduated?
I'm completed already.
Okay.
Currently,
You can continue if you want to add something.
Currently, I'm planning for higher education in abroad.
Okay. What's the popular food in your city or in your country?
Basically, rice and different kind of curries are more popular in our country.
Can you name some?
I would never guess it.
Yeah. So what about this one? Do you work or do you study?
Currently, I work as an electrical engineer at a tech company, and I just want to take this IELTS in order to get my master's degree, in order to get scholarship in university.
Yeah.
And what about you? I think
I
you
study.
studied.
Yeah, I'm high school student, but I'm planning to go to university next year. Like always like this year, but next year I'm planning to study in the UK, so I'm planning to pass IELTS as well.
Which city are you from Ukraine?
Well, it's kinda near Kiev, near the capital of Ukraine, so it's not so far from that.
So Kiev, we can say Kiev basically, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about your hobbies?
What about my hobbies? Well, it's a little bit tough question to answer because I love everything. I love learning foreign languages. I love reading psychology books. I love, painting. I'm dancer. I've been dancing for 8 years, so it's my hobby, obviously, I think. Well, what else? Probably, I think that's all. What about you?
Yeah.
Did you ask? Should I ask?
Okay, you can. I can ask you first if you want to.
Oh,
2 question
okay.
and then 2 question for me. Is that good?
Yeah. It's all right.
Okay. Okay, let me ask you a question. Who is your favorite artist or musician?
I'm not really big fan of art or music, but I really like Ram, who is a singer, and he sings majorly Bollywood songs, which is a genre in Indian cinema, and he has many popular songs like Ashiki and Kesaria, etc. I'm not sure of it because I'm not a fan of him, like a major fan of him, but I like him. I admire him.
Mm. So what about your favorite hobby? I mean, what do you like to do in your free time?
Yeah, I really like to cook in my free time. because I'm so into fitness and I need to manage my macros, adjust my protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So I like to cook my every meal by myself. So whenever I find any free time, I'll just cook it by myself. That's it.
Oh, great. What do you usually cook?
I usually cook chicken and rice, or maybe some vegetable salad, like that.
No.
Moreover, I am a food fanatic person. I'm a gourmet person. Yeah, it's a therapeutic also. Yeah.
Yeah.
And same question for you. What's your favorite food and why?
What about me? I suppose that my favorite food is Ukrainian food. Obviously, I love eating a borscht. It's kind of soup here, you know. It is mouth-watering cuisine, so I love that. So borscht, it's like a soup, is my favorite one, I think.
Okay. Uh, Next question for you. What kinds of restaurants are popular in your country?
You mean food, yeah?
A restaurant.
A restaurant, yeah, I see. Well, it's tough to answer. It's arduous to answer because we don't have this one. I think like we have lots of restaurants, different ones. It can be everything. For instance, it can be Chinese food or it can be Italian food. It depends, but Ukrainian food is the most popular in my.
No.
Mm,
So,
what
what
do
languages
you?
do you speak there in your country?
Yep. Can you repeat again?
What languages do you speak?
We speak in Bangla.
Bangla. Mhm.
Yep,
Ah,
Bangladesh.
actually, I know that in Bangladesh, there is some construction project about nuclear power plant.
Yeah,
Rosatom is constructing it.
yeah,
Russian company.
Russia.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work in Turkey for this company, Rosatom, Russian company,
Oh, uh,
and I
the
had
fun.
some offers to work in Bangladesh, but I refused because I have my work in Kazakhstan as well.
Oh, in Bangladesh, the power plant are um constructed by Russian. The
Mm.
fun fact is, there are Bangladeshi people learn Russian language from Russia,
Yeah.
and everyone know Russian in that place.
Do you know some Russian
No,
at all?
I no.
Mm.
I,
А вы говорите по-русски?
Я говорю
maybe.
по-русски.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to show you just a few of the mistakes that I've collected so far. Like I'm involved in my father business. The thing we have here is that it should be my father's, this possessive S. I'm planning for higher education. It's a little bit strange, right? I'm planning to study higher education is better, or I'm preparing for higher education, perhaps. I'm a food fanatic person. Sounds strange. We can just remove this word person. I'm a food fanatic, or I'm a fanatical person about food or something like this. And my favorite food is borscht, and I'm eating it very often. So usually this present continuous I'm eating we use when we talk about right now. There are, of course, other cases when we might use it, but better to say I eat it very often. And then this place constructed by foreign people. We just have a problem with the passive here. This place was constructed by foreign people, or foreign people constructed this place. So those are just a few of the basic mistakes that I've collected. I'm going to pull the students back now. We're going to move on. I will continue adding to this slide as we keep going to collect more of the mistakes. And then I will give the students a chance to correct those mistakes themselves. But next up, we're just going to, I'll pull the students back and you will see for yourselves. Must do the hair. Welcome back. Ira, can you tell us something about a person you spoke to?
Yeah, I spoke to two of them. Razel told me that he liked Tree Cat, because he used to be a fan of that. And like, how can I say your name? Can you help me? Sorry.
Which person? Darhan?
Yeah, Darhan. Yeah. We talked, and he's planning to pass IELTS, and he's trying to prepare for that. And he's never took your speaking test, not mistaken, but I took, so we spoke a little bit about that as well.
Cool. If I remember correctly, Ira, you had this speaking test with me a long time ago, and you got like band 7, 7.5,
Yeah.
something like this.
7, yeah.
I remember. Cool.
Thank you.
Let's go to Russell. Can you tell us about somebody you spoke to?
Yeah, past breakout room, I was with a girl. She was from Indonesia. How can
Sinvi.
I say her name? Sanvi? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, by the way. I'm probably mispronouncing Darhan and Sinvi. I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Yeah. She shared some idea, her favorite place to visit. And next, I made a girl probably from Ukraine or Russia. I don't remember. She's a,
She's not from Russia.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Pardon my
Ukraine.
mistake. And yeah, she shared me her favorite food and restaurant, and she also a dancer. So she shared me what kinds of sports or activity she do in her free time. Yeah, it was a fantastic conversation.
How does it sound? She do in her free time. Is it okay?
No.
The activity that she do? Cool. We will. It's okay. We will look at some small mistakes a little bit later. Okay, let's move on. So I will not ask everybody because I don't want to kill too much time. But let's take a look at IELTS Part 1, which is the easiest part, first of all. Firstly, we should understand, right, that IELTS Speaking Part 1 is an interview with what we call personal questions. These are examples of personal questions. Usually we see the word you, or your. It's all about you, right? What sports do you like? Or maybe what sports are popular in your country, perhaps. Who is your favorite musician? Do you like sports? The questions are always about you. Why? Because we know that A2, B1 students can speak about themselves, but they find it difficult to speak about other people or global ideas. So the first part of the IELTS speaking test is aimed at those A2, B1 students. Kind of quite easy questions, the questions that you've asked and answered. But there is quite a common problem that I've noticed with a lot of candidates, that because it's part 1, students perhaps feel, or candidates feel, a little bit nervous, and they want to say as much as possible because they think that if they speak a lot, they will get good marks. There are other candidates who feel very, very nervous, and so they answer in a very short way. So if you can hear, you'll hear some answers like this. Do you come from a big family? Yes, I do. Did you hear that response?
Yeah.
Cool. So obviously this is too short, right? Maybe in our real life, we want to say, yes, I do. Now, other candidates, like I say, they go on for too long. Listen to this answer. Do you come from a big family? Oh, yes, absolutely, I do. In my family, we have so many different types of people. I have a lot of brothers, I have a lot of sisters, I have a lot of cousins, I have a lot of aunties, I have a lot of uncles, I have a lot of grandparents, I have a lot of step-grandparents, I have a lot of in-laws, I have a lot of nephews, I have a lot of nieces. There are so many people in my family. I don't know how I can keep in touch with all of them because there are just so many people, and sometimes I don't know. It's difficult because there are lots of people in my family. My family is very big, and so I have to communicate with them, and it's very difficult. Like if, for example, if someone has has a birthday. I don't remember the dates of everyone's birthday. Of course, I remember the dates of my mother's birthday, my father's birthday, my brother's birthday, but I don't remember the dates of all of my cousins' birthdays because it's really difficult because I'm from a really big family. So you can hear the candidate is speaking too quickly. The candidate is repeating, I have a, I have a, I have a, I have a. Even when the candidate is speaking, you can hear the candidate saying, because the candidate can't breathe. That's because the candidate is speaking too quickly. The answer is too long. We're going off topic. So of course, it's difficult for candidates. We don't want to give short answers. We don't want the answers to be too long and too repetitive. We're always looking for something kind of in the middle, something like this. Do you come from a big family? Yeah, I do. I have two brothers, one older and one younger, and then I have a sister. My sister is the youngest person in the family. It's not like super huge, but in my country, 4 children is considered to be quite a large family. Cool. It's 20 seconds. It's a few clauses. It's not repetitive. I'm not rushing, but also I don't give a short answer. I don't give a crazy long answer. I'm right in that golden zone. Now we're going to practice some speaking part 1 questions, and I want you to keep this in mind. Of course, I'll put you in breakout rooms to do this. And so one person will play like the role of asking the questions. Maybe you'll ask 2 or 3 questions, and then you'll switch and the other person will ask 2 or 3 questions. But with your answer, try to keep this length in mind. Don't speak for too long. Don't speak for too short. If you are the person asking the question and you feel like your partner is speaking too long, let them know. Be brave. So, we're talking about friends and family today. One of the most common themes, or there are lots of common themes in IELTS, but we're starting with friends and family because we're getting to know each other, and we often speak about friends and family. So here are some part 1 typical questions. Again, notice the you. Do you come from a big family? Who do you get on with best? If you get on with someone, does it mean you have a good relationship or a bad relationship? Cool. Thank you, Ila. What kind of things did you do? Again, we have you. Now, Tarhan, what kind of things did you do with your family in your childhood? Is this talking about present time or past time?
Of course, it's about pastime.
Cool. And so, Jewel, what's a better answer? I play football with my family, or I played football with my family?
I played football with my family.
So it's important. One of the most common grammar mistakes we see from candidates is about time. We know English has a lot of tenses. You don't need to worry about all of the tenses, but as a minimum, examiners find it very easy to see, talking about present time, past time, or future time. I do this very often. I did this in the past. I'm going to do this tomorrow. And a lot of candidates use present time when they should use past time. So be careful. Again, we have you. So all of these questions are about family. Then we have some questions about friends. Again, do you have a lot of friends? What do you like doing with your friends? Again, we have past time. When did you last meet up with a big group of friends? And also, would you like to make new friends? Notice this in the future. We will almost always see this in part 1. Most of the questions will be present time. 1 or 2 of the questions will be past time, and maybe 1 or 2 of the questions will be future time, because the question makers and the examiners want to know not just do you have enough vocab and fluency, but can you choose the correct grammatical constructions to talk about present time, to talk about the past time, and to talk about future time. The people who make these questions, they always have some reason why they ask these questions. So again, I'm going to be quiet. And again, I'm going to make a copy of this set of questions. I'm going to put this in 2 places. The first place will be in our Zoom chat, and I'm going to put that there now. By the way, when you are in the breakout rooms, if you want to share, if one person wants to share the screen, you can share the screen in your breakout rooms if you know how to do that. Maybe it can be easier. But I'm also going to put these questions in our Telegram chat so you can see them there. I'll put you into pairs. Remember, our goal here is to try to get just simple grammar right, present, past, or future. But most importantly, we want to make sure that the length of our answers is correct, not too short, not too long. I'll give you about 6 or 7 minutes to get through this. 1 second, breakout rooms. Sorry. Let's just mix the groups randomly and let's go. Okay, so I've given them a time limit of 6 or 7 minutes. I don't know if I will stick to this time limit. It's just when you're a teacher, it's important to give people a time limit so that they don't, waste they don't take it too slowly. Again, I'm going to switch off my camera and microphone here. And again, I'm just going to jump from room to room to see how they're doing. If I notice any critical mistakes with grammar here, not difficult grammar, just like present time, past time, future time, I will let that candidate know. I will continue also to write down some of these grammar mistakes. And also, if candidates are speaking for too long or if any answers are too short, I'll also just add a little bit of feedback. But mostly, I'll try to shut up.
So my family just consists of 4 family members, actually, yes, my parents and my sisters, and that's it.
Okay. Ask me a question, please.
All right. Okay, who do you get on with best in your family?
To be honest, it's really tricky one for me. I didn't face that type of questions, but I would say, who do you get? Yeah, my father. My father is my who do you get the best in? My father my father is my favorite one, because he's my idol and he take care us. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Oh, sure. Should I ask you about 3 questions and then you answer it, and then you ask me?
As for my mom's cousins, I do, but as for like some kind of older generation, not really, because we don't have anything in common with them. But I do keep in touch with my aunt and uncle, but not really with my great grandparents. But I think it depends. What about you?
Well, I'm trying actually to be in touch with my extended family because basically I'm from a very traditional family and my parents are persuading me to keep connections with my extended family, cousins, aunties, etc., etc. And that's why I'm trying. And also, I have some good relationships with some of them, and that's why it is like that.
Yeah, cool.
Part one. And what about friends? Do you have a lot of friends?
Well, frankly, I don't think so. Well, I think that I have really few close friends, buddies that I'm talking to, because for me, I have like tons of like a lot of acquaintances, but not a lot of friends. Just few of them, at school or some kind.
What kind of things did you do with your family in your childhood?
Mm, in my childhood, I actually loved to play.
Just be careful. Is this present time or past time?
Yeah,
It's
it is
past.
past time.
So I love to is a bit strange.
Mm,
You should use I used to or
oh,
like that.
I
I used to.
used to play with my mother and father. Is it okay?
Very
Yeah,
nice.
if you can extend or elaborate it, it's up to you.
Agree.
Yep. I used to play with my mother, like cricket. No, sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
it's okay, it's okay. We'll move to the next question.
Well, actually,
Um,
let's just stick on it. So you said you
Yeah,
used to play, right? So think about some things. You can think about where you used to play. You can think about what you used to play. You can think about how often you used to play. So I used to play with my mother in the garden. We used to play some different games and sports, like I had some toys. Or I used to play with my mum every weekend because during the week I was in school, but at the weekend I had some free time, right? So you can think about this: when, where, how often, why. You can say if you liked it, you can say if she liked it. But I Okay, so I stepped in to give a little bit of feedback. Is that a good idea? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If you've just given this advice, like, okay, past time, you should use past time constructions, this is when I think it's okay to do some what we call spot correction, where you interrupt the candidate or the student and you try to help them. But notice how I didn't just say, I didn't say, oh, you must say I used to like, or you must say I loved doing something. I tried to ask questions like, is this about present time or is this about past time? The reason I do this is a technique that we call eliciting. And we do this because we want the student to figure it out for themselves. If you're teaching someone to play baseball, you don't get the bat and hit it and then give the bat to someone else and say, you do it now, but you try to help them to do it themselves. Just a little analogy. So do I have any other mistakes? Just a couple more. We have for family member. This is a common mistake we see between singular and plural. Also, he take care us. Again, we have this problem with he. It should be he takes. And also there's a missing preposition here. He takes care of us, but we'll see if the students can figure this out for themselves. So I'm going to just pull the students back now, and then I'm going to ask them just a couple of them. I'll ask them just some of these questions just to see if we have the length right and to see if we have the time and tense right. But let's see how they do. Okay, they're coming back. All right, let's pick on a couple of people. I'll start with Priyan. How do I say your name correctly?
Priyanshu. You can call me Varma.
Varma.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Varma. I'm going to ask you one of these questions. And for the other students in the group, I just want you to think a little bit about the time. Does he get the time right, present, past, or future? And also about the length. Is it too short? Is it too long? Or is it just right? Varma, what kind of things did you do with your family in your childhood?
Yeah, I used to fly kites with my mother and my father. We have a festival called Sankranti, which is celebrated in south of the India. In Sankranti, we usually every family usually fly kites. So even I used to, and I used to play with my mother in my in a garden every Saturday.
Cool. Did anyone notice any grammar mistakes? No. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You can correct me.
People are shy. It's the first lesson.
Yeah.
Sinvi, how did you feel about the length of Varma's answer?
I think it's already good. It's already good enough for the length of the answer.
Yeah, I think maybe you were speaking a little bit too quickly. I don't know why people from South India tend to speak quite quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's because our language Telugu is spoken quickly. So that's the issue.
And yeah, and the problem, of course, with doing this in English is sometimes you can lose intonation. So when you speak very quickly like this, it's kind of difficult to hear all of those different tones because it kind of sounds like it's one like flat thing. Whereas if you speak a little bit more slowly, English is what we call a a stress-timed language, which means some words in the sentence must stand out more, right? Like, I went to the shop yesterday to buy some bread. We can hear like shop yesterday, buy bread. Went shop yesterday, I went to the shop yesterday to buy some bread. So when you speak quickly, this can negatively affect something we call sentence stress. And if you don't have consistently good sentence stress, it will be difficult to get that 7. So intonation, sentence stress is important. I know it can be difficult to slow down sometimes. I noticed you were speaking a little bit about the present. You were mixing up the present and the past. Like you said, I used to fly kites with my mother and father. And then in India, we have this festival. And then like every family flies kites. And so we kind of moved away from the topic of what you did with your family. And we want to stick to that more in part 1. Keep it personal. I know sometimes when we develop, we might want to add extra details, but better answer maybe is, I used to fly kites with my mother and father. We used to go to this special kind of festival and the weather was really windy there. And here you're demonstrating to the examiner that you can consistently use past time. Right? I used to go, the weather was, I did it very often. All of that's good stuff. But okay, let's go to Russell. What do you like doing with your friends?
Sorry, teacher?
What do you like doing with your friends?
Sorry? There's quite a variety of things I like to do with my friends. Among them, playing with my friends. It's one of my favorite activity. And I also hang out with my friends. Yeah.
Cool. Let's go to Darhan. How do you feel, Darhan? Sorry, how do you feel about the length of Russell's answer?
I think it's a bit of a short, maybe. I'm not an expert, but I think it's short.
I agree. It's a little bit short. What details could he have included when he said, like, I like to play with my friends? What details could he have added?
Play some definition or developing, for example, playing video games or playing sports, maybe like this.
Yeah, and I think it's always better in part 1 not to try to list too many things, right? Like Russell started with like, I like to do a variety of things with my friends, including playing with them and hanging out with them. I think it's better to stick with one and to get in early and say, I like playing with my friends. We play some sports like football and tennis, but that's mostly in the summer. In the winter, we stay at home and watch movies, something like this. Maybe it's a little bit more detailed. Like when you say I play with my friends, a normal person is thinking, well, what do you play? Do you mean you play sports? Do you play different board games? Do you play computer games? So trying to have a little bit more detail can be useful. But okay, let's move on from this part 1. We're going to read a very short text about British people and how we in Britain keep in touch with our friends and family. But before you read this text, I'm going to put you into pairs just to answer these questions. Now, you don't know the answers to these questions, of course, but I just want you to guess. What do you think is right? For example, number 1, the average social media user, so people who use like Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, participates in group chats. What do you think the average social media user in the UK, how many group chats do you think the average one has? 23, 53, or 83? I'm going to put you into pairs. Of course, you don't know the answers, but I'll put you into groups of 3 for this. Just make guesses about this. What do you think are the correct answers to these questions? let's put the questions in the Zoom chat and also in the Telegram chat. And let's put you into groups of 3. Good luck. Okay, so this is what we call a pre-reading task. Whenever you give students a reading task, you always want to give them something to focus on, right? It's generally a bad idea to say, like, okay, here's a text, read it, and then I will ask you some questions. It makes it difficult to focus on the text. So we want to create some context. And so by asking these questions, when I ask these questions, then the students will discuss them, the students will make guesses, and then when they have to read the text, they won't worry about understanding every simple idea, because I'm only going to ask them to read the text and find out if they were right. So their brains will be focused on these questions that they've asked. So these are what we call pre-reading questions or focus questions. They help people when it comes to reading tasks like this. Of course, in IELTS, you don't always have the questions first and then the text, but doesn't matter. Yeah, so again, I'll give the students a bit of time. I don't need to check with them. I'll just sit here in silence until they come back. But maybe we will listen to them.
So I suppose it's 96%.
Yeah, I can relate to you for sure. I agree with you because, well, yeah, it seems to be
Joel,
obvious, Peter.
Joel, what's your thoughts on that?
Yep, maybe 96%.
Okay, we all agree on that, and let's move.
I have a lot of friends from UK, especially they live in London. So, that's why I agree your statement.
Okay, so it's probably 53. Okay.
Yes, 53. And sometime I chatting with the WhatsApp, sometimes Facebook.
Sorry, guys, I'll just ask you to speed up a little bit because the other group is
All right.
already on question 4. Sorry about that. So I'll give you about 45 seconds more.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Glenn.
So this is another good reason why it's good to monitor, right? While even if you're not going to take part, it's always good to check on the different groups to see, one group might be ahead of the other group. And so you might want to tell one group to slow down or tell the other group to speed up, just so we have this like calibration. But okay, it doesn't matter if one group finishes early. They are quite communicative. I think they will find something else to speak about. We'll just wait maybe 30 seconds more, and then we will pull people back. We will check their answers, and then we will give them this reading text. Sorry, this is probably quite boring now in this silence. Don't know if there's anything else. Yeah, and the reason I want to do this reading text is just with idea generation. Like if you jump straight into part 3, sometimes candidates can find it really difficult to produce ideas. So reading short texts like this about, not about us individually, but about other people, that can sometimes help with some idea generation. Just reading short text about, friends, family, technology, environment, that can sometimes help us to get some ideas when it comes to those tricky questions in part 3. But more on that soon. Let's pull candidates back. I guess I'll make a copy of this reading text. Just one moment. All right, it's time to pull them back. All right. Let's have a look at some of your predictions then. Darhan, what do you think? The average social media user in the UK, number one?
Well, in my opinion, it's gonna be A because I don't think that some person is able to participate in AD3, for example. It's too much.
Sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sindvi, what do you think? What's the most popular in the UK?
I think it will be Telegram. In Indonesia, it is WhatsApp, but I think it is not as popular in Indonesia for the British people there.
Uh-huh. You might be right. Let's see. Juval, what do you think of number three? What percentage of people in the UK exchange messages with their family and their friends at least once a week? Not just once a week, but at least once a week.
I think it's number C, 96%, as we discussed.
Okay. And then finally, let's get to number four. We'll go to you, Irina. What percentage of older people do you think meet up in person, either with friends or family?
Well, I'm not real sure, but I suppose that it's gonna be A, 59, because I think it's gonna be really tough for them to meet in person, especially if they're older. You know, they're not young anymore.
Yeah, that means that 40% of these older people don't see anybody every week.
Probably, or they can talk, on some platforms, but they don't really spend time, in person every time.
Yeah. Well, let's find out if you're right. We have a very short text. The text maybe has some difficult language, not a lot, but I only want, when you read the text, I just want you to check to see if your answers here are correct. So I'll give you a couple of minutes. Have a look at this text. Don't worry if there are some words that you don't know. That's fine. Read the text and just check if your answers are right or not. I'll give you maybe 2 minutes to read this text. Sorry. So, of course, there might be some difficult words in the text, but don't worry about that. Again, I'm going to send this text to you in the Telegram chat and also in the Zoom chat. So if you want to look at this text again, that's fine. But I'm going to put you back in the same groups now, just to answer this question. Were you right or wrong with your guesses about these statistics? I'll give you just 3 minutes for that, just to quickly check. All right.
Hello, teacher.
Hi.
I have to sorry to say I have gotta go now because it's time to prayer. And should I back within 10 or 15 minutes?
You can join us again in 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah, I think we will be here for about 30 minutes more.
Okay.
All right. See you soon.
Talk to you later, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right. So why have I put students back in pairs to do this? Why didn't I just ask them, were you right or were you wrong? Well, this is what we call kind of peer help, right? Certainly some students are stronger than other students in general. And so it's kind of easier for them to ask each other if there's something they didn't understand, if there's a statistic they don't quite understand. It's good for the other student to have this experience of explaining things in the text to that other person. That's a really, really useful skill to develop. But also, it's good not to humiliate students in front of the group. Some people can be a little bit sensitive. If you put them on the spot and you ask someone, okay, what was the correct answer to this one? And they don't know in front of the group, this can be not good psychologically. So it's nice for students to have a little bit of time together to check their answers, to see if they were right. And then this will give them confidence when we pull them back to ask. This will give them a bit more confidence when they're giving their answer. But okay, I should check the answers and see which ones are right. Average social media user. Let's start highlighting some things. 83 different group chats. Most common was WhatsApp, wasn't it? It said WhatsApp stands out. The number 3 percentage of people at least once a week who exchange messages. 86% at least once a week. And this last one was 79%, I believe. Older individuals, 75 plus, are more likely to meet up in person with friends or family weekly, 79%, than those aged 25 to 34. Okay, I'm going to move this green stuff off. I'll pull the candidates back, check their answers. And again, the idea is this will build some context for students to think about, how people communicate in Britain. And then maybe they'll think about how they communicate with their friends or how people in their country communicate with family and friends. And we also have some extra questions for part 3 to build on that, to develop. Of course, part 3 is always a bit more difficult. We'll collect some more mistakes here. And then at the end of the lesson, I'll put candidates back in pairs to check their mistakes together. Okay, let's pull these guys back. All right, so I collected your answers as a group. Firstly, one person said that it was probably 23 group chats. What was the correct answer, Darhan?
83, actually.
Is this surprising for you?
Really, really surprising because I was so confident in my answer that it is 23, but I was wrong.
Yeah, I can imagine some people have 83, but the average social media user, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sinvi, the most common messenger in the UK, was it Telegram?
No, it is
No.
not. It's actually WhatsApp.
Mhm. So with my family, I speak to my family mostly on Facebook Messenger. My brother and sister I speak to on Telegram, not on WhatsApp. But I don't know. I think WhatsApp probably in the UK in general maybe is more, well, according to the text, it's the most popular one. Number 3, let's go to you, Varma. Is it right that 96% of people?
No, it's actually 76%.
Yeah, so that means that 24%, almost 1/4 of British people don't speak with their family or friends at least once a week, or at least not through messages. That's quite high, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought of 96 or 86%, but I'm surprised with 76%.
Yeah, it is a surprise. Let's go to you, Ila, for the last one. Were you right?
No, I was just appalled because, it's gonna be C, 79%. Older people, they talk with friends every week,
And that's kind of nice, right? That,
Yeah.
almost 80% of these British older people, they get to meet people face to face. But okay, this is the situation in Britain. Now, notice this information isn't about me, my friends, my family, but it's about British people in general. Now, we know if you are B1, you can speak about yourself, your interests, your hobbies, your friends, your family, and it's easy. If you are B1, it's a lot more difficult to speak about other people, people in general, people in your country. And that's what we see in part 3. So in part 3, we get more of a discussion. So part 1 is an interview. Examiner asks the question, candidate responds. Question, answer, question, answer. Part 3 is more like a discussion, which means the examiner can ask a question. And if there's something interesting about your answer, the examiner can say, oh, tell me more about this. Or can you give me an example of this? Or maybe they'll say, but some people say da 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 against your opinion. What do you think of this? So it's more of a discussion, although most examiners are lazy and they just read the questions. They don't do the discussion part, but they can do the discussion part if they want to. And so now we think of the subjects of these sentences, and now it's not you, right? How do people in your country stay in touch with friends and family? Not you, but people in your country. Is it similar to Britain? Is it different? Is WhatsApp the most popular app? Maybe Facebook Messenger or Telegram is. What about older people in Britain? Do they also prefer to meet people face to face, or do older people also use technology? So all of those ideas that you read about in the text, you can think about this for this question. Now, we do have you here. Do you think, but really the question isn't about you. Do you think it's important to meet up with friends and family in person? So the question is not, do you do this, but is it important for people in general to meet up with friends and family in person? Maybe you think it is. Maybe you think it's okay to speak to them online. Again, question 3, why do so many people, not you, why do so many people in general prefer online messaging? Now, a lot of candidates here say things like, oh, I don't prefer online messaging. I prefer face-to-face. That's very B1-ish. B1 people always want to pull the conversation back to themselves. And it's an easy thing for examiners to spot. Do you speak about yourself in part 3, or do you speak about things in general? Now, is it a huge problem if you speak about yourself? No, not a huge problem, but we don't want to repeatedly speak about ourselves. If you use yourself as an example once or twice, absolutely fine, but try to keep the focus on, people in general. Then we get, why are some older people, so some older people, afraid to use new technology? And again, we don't want answers like, oh, well, my grandparents aren't afraid to use technology. That's not the answer. The question is, why are some old people? So we know that some old people are afraid to use new technology. Your task here is not to say, oh, that's not true. Your task here is to explore some of those reasons why. And then finally, how do you think communicating with friends and family might change in the future? Sinvi, what's interesting about the time here?
Might change in the future. So it will talk about the prediction in the future, how we will communicate with friends and family.
Exactly. And again, a big problem here is people might not make predictions. They might talk about what it's like now, or they might talk about what it's like in the past. I promise, watch any of my videos and you will see the candidates doing this, except Irina, of course. You will see the candidates doing this, that when you ask them about the future, they talk about the present. So we want to keep our focus on that. We know in English we have a lot of language to talk about the future. It will probably happen. It might happen. It's bound to happen. It's unlikely to happen. A lot of this like predictive language. we are not focusing on predictive language right now, but it's just a point that I want to make. Maybe we will have a lesson in the future on this predictive language. But these are part 3 questions. Again, we want to relax. Again, we don't want to speak too quickly. It's okay to take a moment to think about your answers here, right? I don't know if you saw my video where I did the IELTS speaking test, but some of those questions in part 3, my first response was like, I don't know how might it change in the future? And that's perfectly okay to do. These questions are not simple. It's not about you, your interests, your hobbies. They are a little bit difficult, and it's perfectly okay to take a moment to breathe, to think about the answer, and then deliver it. But these will be tough. I'm going to throw you back into pairs. One of you will be a group of 3, so you will need to mix a little bit, but I'll give you plenty of time to do this. I'll give you about 7 or 8 minutes. Try to just ask a variety of these questions. And just like an examiner, if you feel like the candidate or the student didn't give an example, ask them, can you give an example of this? If you feel like the candidate didn't explain something very well, ask them to explain things more. Treat it a bit more like a discussion than an interview. Again, I'm going to put these questions in 2 places. Where am I going to send them, Darhan?
Send please in chat, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to send them to 2 places, aren't I?
And Telegram also, yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's do this chat here. That's one place, and the second place in Telegram. There they are there. Right, I'll throw you into pairs. I'll give you about 8 minutes to get through this. Let's just mix the groups up a little bit. And good luck. Okay, so I don't expect candidates to be great with part 3 here, right? This is just a bit of familiarization, a bit of practice. We haven't looked at really a lot of exam technique, but I feel like a lot of candidates don't have a lot of experience of like speaking English with people they don't know and asking and answering these types of questions. Maybe a lot of people have experience of like, oh, hey, how are you? Where are you from? What do you like? These part 1 questions. But I think it can be difficult for many candidates, many students to have this chance of discussing wider world topics with other people in English. And so the purpose of this is just practice, just familiarization. Let's jump in and see if we can find some mistakes.
So that they can hang out together, play together, or probably just like chatting.
Okay. Are phone calls popular in your country?
I believe it's not that popular in like personal settings, but in work setting, it will be very, very common, very important. Once I did internship with someone like project manager, and she always do a lot of callings. So I believe that phone calls is still very important.
Wow, great answer. I was impressed. So you can answer me maybe, or
Oh, okay.
okay.
I can ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do so many people nowadays prefer online messaging instead of phone calls?
Well, you're right. First of all, many people now are getting used to um, online messaging because it's very convenient if we compare it to phone calls. For example, some people may be an introvert, but introverts by their nature, and it is easier for them just to text instead of phone call. And also, you don't want to bother someone in certain situations, and that's why, in my opinion, it is way more convenient just to use messaging instead of phone calls.
I agree with that.
Okay.
And How about why are some older people afraid to use new technology?
Well, that's a common one and the reason behind of it is that older people tend to be more close to new technologies and new inventions because I think once you're getting older, your brain kind of start to decrease and your abilities to be open to new things are not so high as it was back in the days when you were young. And that's why that's my answer. And
It more convenient.
Yeah, I got you.
Um, how do you think communicating with friends and family might change in future?
That's tough to answer, but I assume that people aren't going to talk a lot in person. They would rather prefer talking online and doing some stuff online because I mean still for them it's a kind of arduous and it's not really convenient to meet every time because it takes time and you really need to be free in order to meet so I think that they're gonna be more online using online platforms instead of offline ones.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, Razel, hello. Can you tell us, do you think it's important to meet up with friends and family in person or not really?
Yes, definitely. It's a crucial. So it's a crucial meet with the friends and family. Whenever you meet your friends and family, you build up your connection with theirs. So I believe it's crucial things. Uh, for example, they can help us. Um, they can help us if we have a good connection, good communication with them. Yeah.
All right, so I've just taken a few more notes on some mistakes. I've changed the wording a little bit in the mistakes just because I want candidates to focus on, I want the mistake to stand out more obvious, right? I think Razel said that whenever you meet your friends and family, you build up your relationship with theirs. Now, I didn't want to correct this build up because I feel like, oh, it's kind of correct, but it's kind of incorrect. And maybe if I'd written you build up your relationship, people would focus on that instead of this critical error, which is theirs. We need object pronoun with them, not with theirs. And so I just change the wording of the mistake sometimes just to help students focus on the critical mistake, not the gray area mistake, not the borderline mistake. So that's why you might notice some of the mistakes when I write, they're not exactly what the student has said. And so for you aspiring teachers, that's a really important skill to learn when you write the mistakes, to make sure that your students are focusing on what you want them to focus on. But okay, I'm going to let them run for a little bit. So we just have a few more messages in Telegram. Unbelievably, at 12 o'clock, there are still people asking if they can join 1 hour into the lesson. Yeah, but it's okay. Okay, I just want to give them a few more minutes, just maybe 1 more minute to finish their discussions. What do we have planned next? Well, I'm just going to collect a little bit of feedback. I might just ask a couple of candidates some of these part 3 questions just to give them a little bit of feedback. Particularly interested in, this one about the future, to see if they can activate some language connected to that. Yeah, important. We'll see. We'll just ask some candidates, some of the students, some of these questions and give them some feedback. Then we will let the candidates correct their grammar mistakes. Then we will say goodbye. Coming to the end. Okay, let's pull these people back. All righty then. So I'm going to ask a couple of people some part 3 questions. I'll just pick one question maybe we'll do one question for each person, but I'm going to be what I call an asshole examiner, a very rude examiner who maybe puts you under pressure. Sometimes, if you're a very high level candidate, the examiner might feel like, I want to see how this candidate performs under pressure, and they might challenge you. So, I'm going to ask you a question. When you answer, I'm going to challenge you. And your task is to try to stay controlled, not to panic, not to freak out, and just give a clear answer. We'll start with you, Varma. How do people in your country stay in touch with their friends and family? You're muted. You're still muted.
Okay. Am I audible?
You're fine. Let's repeat the question. How do people in your country stay in touch with their friends and family?
People in my country stay in touch with the family and friends through WhatsApp and Telegram. You can also call it as online messaging apps or online communication methods. So people just message each other and share every details through online. In my country, meeting in person with people is very rare. Comparatively, online texting or online phoning, online calling or video calling each other.
And I just want to interrupt you there. What are some details specifically that people share with their friends and family?
They share about their location and their studies.
So they just write where their location is? They just say, "Oh, I am in the city center"?
No, not like that. They only share when they go for some trips or some parties or some festivals. So in that occasions, I'm not sure of it, but people do that.
Cool. So again, I apologize for being rude, right? I'm only playing the role of an aggressive examiner. Of course, 99% of examiners will not be aggressive, but I think it is useful to, I've seen on Reddit so many people writing like, the examiner always interrupted me. The examiner always asked me questions and I freaked out. Is this a good or a bad thing? So it's always good to be prepared for an examiner who is ready to interrupt you. Ira, I'm going to go to you next. Do you think it's important to meet up with friends and family in person?
Well, yeah, sure. I think it's essential to meet with family or friends in person instead of, using online platforms because, like you can talk to a person instead of, just trying to see her face online. Because for me, it's about emotion. It's about feeling that you get. So I think, yeah, it is essential.
Why can't you just speak to them online, with face to face when you speak online nowadays, no?
Because it's not that feeling, obviously. I feel that when you meet in person, you can, see the person, obviously, and you can, understand her feeling better.
But that's what you feel. Does everyone feel like this?
Well, I think that everyone feels it, but people who can't do that, they usually prefer online platforms because they just can't do that because I know like some of their buddies live in another country, so they have to talk online instead of offline.
Thank you. Sinvi, why do so many people nowadays prefer online messaging instead of making phone calls?
I believe that messaging is much more convenient than phone calls. So it's probably why they use messaging instead of phone calls. Not only that, phone calls usually, in my experience, it usually you have to like make an appointment if they are available or not. So that's why people more to online messaging than phone calling.
So do friends and family in your country have to make appointments with each other before making phone calls?
It's not like a really formal appointment. It's like asking them if they are available for phone calls or not.
Do you think this is a good thing for relationships when you have to beg people like, oh, please, can I make a phone call?
Yeah, it's not like you have to make an appointment first. It's like more like so that the other people will have like a comfortable place to call with the other person and such things.
Got it. Thank you. Darkhan, you're muted, so I'll ask you to turn off mute. And why are some older people afraid to use new technology?
Well, in my personal opinion, it is because of their age. I can say that people old people tend to have this decline in their thinking abilities as they're getting older. If we compare them to youngsters, for example, young people have this ability to adopt easily to new technologies, while the old ones don't really have it.
So are you really trying to say that older people are not like smart enough to use new technology?
No, I'm not talking about the general brain capabilities, but I'm talking about that young people have fresh minds, and old ones don't really have it because time takes everything from them.
Some people say that too much technology actually makes younger people's minds worse. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I can relate on it. In my personal opinion,
But isn't that a contradiction of what you said?
Yeah, but it had something with young people also, because it can affect on some qualities. For example, focusing, it can affect in a bad way. If for example, some young people have this focusing issues while they study, and it's harmful generally. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Good job. So, and again, I'm really sorry for being this guy. I'm really sorry.
No, I like it. I like it because
It's all
I
right.
have to immerse.
Secretly, I like it too. Let's go to you, Jewel. How do you think communicating with friends and family might change in the future?
Due to modernization in technologies, people are like to connect with people like friends and family.
Now or in the
But
future?
yeah,
Now or in the future?
now
But how might it change in the future?
people will like to connect with friends and family by text or message.
But we already do this now, don't we?
Sorry.
We already communicate with friends and family by text message.
People will sorry, friends and family people will like to meet sorry, I'm mixing with
No, it's okay. I'm making it difficult on purpose, right? Because it's important to speak under this pressure. But remember, we want to stay focused on the future. So right now, the situation is people use their phones to kind of stay in touch, but we want to think about how it might change in the future. So maybe we'll open it to the group. What technologies do you think, what technologies do you think we might have in the future that changes the way that we speak to our friends and family? We're all muted.
Holograms, in my opinion.
Holograms, absolutely. Virtual reality, maybe.
Yeah. Meta, VR headsets.
The metaverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I relate, definitely.
It's a difficult question, though, isn't it? Or maybe you think it won't change. But again, I don't like it when candidates avoid those questions, like, oh, I don't think it will change. I don't know, Jewel. Maybe I'll repeat the question for you. So, how do you think communicating with friends and family will change in the future? Do you want to pass? That's okay. We'll pass. Russell, we'll go to you I'll invent a different question. Some people believe that it's better. No, some people prefer spending their free time with their friends more than their family. Do you think this is a positive thing? You're muted, Russell.
To mine, it's debatable, but I really disagree with the statement. There are a valid reason for negative aspect. So when you
Well, negative aspect of what? Sorry.
sorry, teacher.
You said that there are valid reasons for the negative aspect. The negative aspect of what?
More important social media than family.
But some people prefer spending their time with their friends, not their family.
Okay, I'm sorry. sorry, teacher. I didn't catch your question. Okay. So
do you think it's a good thing that people spend more time with their friends than their family?
I prefer spend time.
But this isn't about you.
Okay.
Do you think it's a good thing that a lot of people prefer spending their time with their friends and not their family?
I don't think it's a positive idea. So I don't think it's a positive idea. Spend with friends and family. It's a crucial idea, because whenever we tend to spend time with social media, so social media, we can face a lot of problem like health issue.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to hold you there for time. Sorry. So again, I'm sorry for being the rude examiner, but notice how Russell here is talking about social media. The question isn't to talk about social media, right? The question is, some people like spending more time with their friends and not with their family. And the question is this a good thing or a bad thing? And so we shouldn't here disagree or agree that people like spending time with their friends, but we have to say if we think it's a good thing or a bad thing. A normal answer to this would be, I think it's a bad thing, because your family are with you for your whole life. And I think generally they are more reliable people. Like, it happens all the time where people are friends with people and then they stop being friends. But how often does it happen that people stop communicating with their brothers or their parents? I think this happens a lot less. So I think we should value our friends more. Our family more than our friends, right? That's a reasonable answer. But again, this is just for you guys to understand, how comfortable you are being challenged. And if you felt like, oh my God, I couldn't deal with that question, I didn't know what to do, that's a sign that you are not at band 7, right? You're probably band 6, band 5. If you felt like, I felt a little bit uncomfortable, but I still gave an answer, probably it's a sign that you're probably band 7 or maybe higher. So yeah, but of course we haven't looked at like how to deal with all of these questions. I hope in future lessons we can do a bit more strategizing on, how to answer part 3 questions more fully. But for the moment, I have been collecting, for one last task, I have been collecting some of your basic grammar mistakes. I haven't written all of your mistakes down. Of course, grammar is not the only important thing. We don't want to focus only on grammar, but it is important to realize that too many basic, simple grammatical mistakes will kill your score. If you keep making mistakes with present simple, if you keep making mistakes with past simple, with the verb to be, with these critical systematic errors, then it can limit your score in grammar to a 5. And we know if you only get a 5 in grammar, it can be very, very difficult then to get the 7 overall. And of course, everybody wants this band 7. So again, I'm going to copy this message. Sorry, I'm going to copy this slide. These are all mistakes or similar to the mistakes that you've made in today's session. If you don't know the correct version, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. But I'm going to send these mistakes to the Zoom chat. And this is a great chance for you grammar nerds. I am a huge grammar nerd, but this is a great chance for you grammar nerds to correct these mistakes. And of course, if your partner has difficulty, maybe you can explain some of these mistakes. If there's one sentence and you can't find the mistake, don't worry about it. Don't spend 5 minutes on one sentence. Try to get through the sentences as quickly as possible. I'll give you about 6 or 7 minutes in total to do this, and I will put you in groups of 3 for this final task. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my timing is kind of slightly off. I should only have 5 minutes left of this 90-minute lesson, but it looks like we're going to go to 100 minutes, but that's okay. Of course, as teachers, if you have strict time limits for your lessons, then you'll need to be a little bit more careful about time management, but I'm free on a Saturday. I don't mind giving that bit of extra time. I think it is useful for students to see their mistakes. I don't think students should be 100% focused on grammar all the time, but I do think it's useful just to see, the most common, critical, basic mistakes. As a language learner, I would want to know this, right? After in a language lesson, at the end, I would want some feedback on, the inaccuracies that I make, and then that will help me then to strategize about how I will avoid making similar mistakes in the future. I tried to get mistakes from a variety of the students, not just one student, so that they feel awful about their stuff. Yeah, but I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to listen to how the students are correcting. Then when we come back, we will correct them together, and then it will be time to say goodbye.
Levity, Joel.
I am eating.
Juro, what about you? What do you think?
Yep. I am eating it very often.
So I think a problem here is about tense. So I eat it very often.
Yeah.
Yep. I eat it very often.
Okay, good.
And I also would say that we can say my favorite dish instead of
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Okay. Well, food is also acceptable. It's
Yeah.
not so huge mistake if we compare it to a tense mistake.
Yeah, we want to focus only on the critical mistakes here. If there's something that, like, maybe one is slightly better, don't worry about it. Just find the critical mistake. But I agree
Right.
with you,
Yeah. This place constructed by foreign people. What, guys, do you think about this sentence?
It was my sentence, but
Okay.
the correct one will be I am a gourmet person. It's not a food fanatic person. It will be I am a movie fanatic person, or it will be I am a drama fanatic person, but it's not a food fanatic person.
Yeah.
The problem is not with the word food here.
Oh, is it? I'm a food fanatic.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's not the food.
So
but
teacher,
the-
teacher, I learned the word from.
Okay,
You can
maybe
keep
we
going, guys. It's
continue.
okay. Go to the next one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. My favorite food is borscht, and I'm eating it very often.
I eat it very often, not I am eating.
All right, I agree. I eat it very often. And then this place constructed by foreign people.
This place was constructed by foreign people. It's past, right?
Right.
You're
I
good
believe
at grammar,
so.
Varma. You have good grammar skills.
Yes.
So, of course, correcting grammar can sometimes seem like a very negative experience, right? Because you're focusing on negatives. So it is important when you're listening to people, when candidates or students get things right, you should give them some praise where that praise is deserved. Let's check the other group.
Yeah. I think that we need to put mate calls instead of callings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe. The reason behind of it is that it's my mistake. Can you guys fix my
The,
mistake?
re-
The
the
reason behind
reason
of it is
behind of
Behind it is that.
yeah.
The reason behind it is that. Or is the reason is that, I think we can say. So
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for your comments. Once you get older, your brain start to decrease. It's also my mistake. Please correct me.
sorry.
get old.
It's also
Yeah,
my
Jewel. Can you
Your
help us?
brain will be oh no. Your brain will start to decrease.
I think that we should say starts to decrease or even decline. I think it's gonna be better.
yeah, definitely. It's present simple. That's
Starts.
And I think it's like conditional.
Mhm. Yeah.
Here.
Zero conditional, yeah?
It looks like a zero conditional, but there's no
Ah.
like if sentence. We have a different conjunction once or when, but they follow the same patterns as conditionals, yeah. And we're
Okay.
talking in general, so it's more like a zero conditional.
Okay, thanks. They would rather prefer talking online. What's wrong here,
Would
guys?
rather talk. Seriously, I made this mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
It's your mistake?
I think yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay. Whenever you meet your friends and family, you improve your relationship with theirs.
Jewel,
Whenever,
what do you think?
whenever you meet your friends and family, you improve your relationship with theirs.
Second part of a sentence. There is mistake in
Yeah.
the end.
Please fix the last word.
Good.
Theirs.
I should be teachers.
With theirs.
Yeah.
So, are we done?
Yeah, I think we already finished all.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Cool. I'll pull you back in just about 10 or 15 seconds then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So candidates, students are pretty much done. I'm going to pull them back. They might not have finished all of them. That's absolutely fine. But again, it's always nice to let students do this in pairs together to correct. We don't want to call on people and just give them the right answer. We want to give them enough time together to try to work it out for themselves. But I'm going to pull them back. Then we will go through. Yeah. We'll go through the mistakes. Okay, grammar nerds. Let's see. Let's see how you are with this. Ira, we'll start with you, please. The first one.
Yeah. I'm involved in my father's business.
Cool. So a very common mistake, this possessive, right? Glyn's problem, my father's business, my sister's flat, that apostrophe S, important stuff. Varma, number 2.
Yes. Currently, we can add some explanation to it. Like currently, I'm planning to pursue my higher education in blah blah blah, so like that.
Mm-hmm. So I think if we want to use for, I think I'm preparing for higher education is fine.
Okay.
But after planning, I really want to use a verb here. I'm planning to start or apply for something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm planning to do something, right? I'm planning to start my higher education. I'm planning to study at university or something like this. I'm planning for higher education. Just sounds a little bit odd.
Okay.
Cool. Darhan, number 3.
I'm a food fanatic person. So I'm a big fan of food, or I'm a gourmet.
So you could change it, right? I'm a big fan of food. I'm a gourmet lover or something, but I'm a food fanatic is fine. I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie. Yeah. Very like colloquial, conversational, but I'm a food fanatic is fine. The word fanatic as a noun is fine, right? We say I'm a teacher, not I'm a teacher person.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are IELTS candidates, not you guys are IELTS candidate people. So we don't need that extra noun person there. Just I'm a food fanatic, I'm a film fanatic, I'm a book fanatic. All of that stuff is okay. Let's go to Jewel, the next one. I don't know why English writes borscht with a T. I don't know, but Jewel.
This place was constructed by
Sorry.
foreign
Number
people.
four.
Oh,
My favorite food.
My favorite food is borscht, and I eat it very. I eat it very often.
Cool. So, of course, there are lots of rules with this present continuous, but the most basic rule is I'm doing something right now. I do something very often. I'm working right now. I work very often. I'm drinking right now. I drink very often. I'm sleeping right now. I sleep very often. So I'm eating very often sounds a little bit strange. If you know your grammatical tenses, you'll know that I'm eating is present continuous and I eat is present simple. And usually, but very often, usually we use present simple. Sinvi, let's go to you for the next one, please. And I should add, this should be past time also, sorry.
Okay. This place was constructed by foreign people.
Cool. How do we call this type of grammatical construction? Do you know, Sinvi?
I believe it's past passive tense.
It is, yeah. Past simple passive, yeah. Was constructed by. Could say foreign people constructed this place, or this place was constructed by foreign people. Cool. Let's go to Razal for the next one.
We have 4 family members.
Good. So again, sometimes this is a pronunciation issue. Sometimes people have a problem pronouncing the S or the Z sound. And so we have 4 family member, but they're trying to say members, but it is a common mistake, singular nouns and plural nouns. 1 family member, 4 family members. Cool. We'll go back to the top, back to, oh, my Zoom has changed. We'll go back to Jewel for the next one, please. He
takes care. He takes care of us.
But we need a preposition here.
Care of us.
There you go.
Care of us. Yeah.
Cool. So 2 mistakes here, right? I take, you take, he takes and takes care. Now, I know a lot of Russian speakers maybe want to use about here. I don't know, Darkhan, how does it sound to you? Do you want to use about or of?
Well, I use of, actually.
Okay, cool. Of is correct. Let's go back to you, Sinvi, once.
Okay. Once I did an internship and my boss used to do callings with other people.
Cool. So a couple of things here. My boss either did or used to. Now, callings is a bit strange. What is the noun for when we phone people or call people?
Make calls, I think.
Yeah, calls. But what is the verb? So used to calls.
Make calls.
Make calls.
Exactly. So my boss used to make calls, or my boss made calls. Made or used to make calls with other people. Callings, a little bit strange as a noun here. Let's go to you, Ira, the reason.
The reason behind it is that, where we can see the reason is that, simply.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, the mistake here, we don't say behind of something. Behind something is fine. We don't need those 2 prepositions. And it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. Ben, who's also an IELTS examiner, he did a speaking test on my channel. He made a couple of grammar mistakes. They're absolutely fine. Let's go to you, Razel, once you get older.
I guess second clause is wrong. Once you get older, your brain. I guess second clause is wrong, but I can't find. I can
Let's help
correct
you.
it.
Cool. So let's take a verb like what verb do we have here? Great. Let's say start. I start something. You start something. But Razel, if I say he, is it okay to say he start something?
No, he
He what?
starts.
Starts
Starts,
something.
yeah.
What about she, Razel?
Same, starts.
And what about it, Razel?
Start.
What do you guys think? It start or it starts?
Starts.
Yes.
S with an S.
Now, if I think about this word brain, the word brain, is it I, you, he, she, it, we, they?
It.
It. And so, once you get older, your brain starts to decrease. Now, I know some students said decline is probably better. I agree, decline probably is better. But again, we're just focusing on the critical mistake here. Let's go to Darhan. They would rather prefer talking online.
They would rather talk online, I think.
Or
No.
Ira, what do you think? What else could we say?
They prefer talk online.
Yeah, or even they would prefer
Talking, yeah.
to talk online, or even they would prefer talking also works. I think would prefer to talk sounds a little bit better, but would rather and prefer mean the same thing. So we don't add both of those things, just one or the other. They would rather talk online. They would prefer to talk online. This is usually taught at like intermediate, upper intermediate, even this construction with would rather. It's used with infinitive without to, would rather talk online. And if you're super advanced, you know other constructions with would rather that are crazy difficult, but we're not going to talk about them here. We have one more left, and maybe let's go to Varma for the last one.
Whenever you meet your friends and family, you improve your relationship with them.
Cool. And how do we call
you build your relationship with them?
Yeah, build, improve, it's fine. How do we call these words like they, them, their, theirs, you, your, yours? How do we call these type of words?
Pronouns.
Second person?
No, I mean, they is third person, you is second person, he is third person, but he, him, his, she.
Is it pronouns?
Possessive or how?
Yeah, these are all pronouns. Yeah.
Pronouns, yes.
Now, technically, her and your, these are called possessive adjectives, but okay, we think of them in this category of pronouns. And again, understanding the difference between I, me, my, mine, you, your, yours, that can be a basic problem for students. But yeah, these are just some of the mistakes that you made. Of course, when you watch the video back, you might find a few more mistakes. It is absolutely fine to make some mistakes with grammar. It's even fine to make some mistakes with basic grammar, but we must understand that grammar is worth 25% of your score in IELTS. And if you repeat these kind of mistakes, it will probably limit your score to a band 5 in grammar. Yeah, not you personally, just people in general. But yeah, that's a quick breakdown of speaking about family and friends. Next week, I want to do something similar, but with a different topic. We had a bit of a focus on the length of part 1 today. Probably next week, we will have a bit of a focus on something else, maybe something else in part 1, maybe something else in part 3. I'm not sure what the topic will be, but we'll see. I hope you found the lesson or the practice useful. And I will just take 5 minutes if anyone has any questions they want to ask me. I can probably give you 5-6 minutes more if you have any questions about this or about anything.
When we're gonna watch our video on your YouTube channel?
I'll probably upload it today, maybe in the next hour or so.
Okay. We're waiting.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. That was really useful.
Cool.
Beneficial, I would say.
Cool. I'm glad it's useful. I always have the problem, right, that there are so many candidates that want these speaking tests, and there are so many people who are angry at me because I can't always give everyone the speaking test. So these lessons hopefully give people, just a bit more chance to practice some of these themes. Razel, you have your hand up. You're muted at the moment.
First of all, I would like to thank you, teacher. So this is the first time in front an examiner. So I was nervous, but I enjoy it. So I don't have too much fluency. So how can I improve my fluency? Though I can understand what you say, but
Yeah.
I can't speak fluently. That's my problem.
You are not going to like my answer, right? Everyone, the most common questions I get: how do I improve my vocab? How do I improve my grammar? How do I improve my fluency? How do I improve my pronunciation? Unfortunately, this isn't a question that I can answer. You have to know yourself. First of all, you have to understand what fluency is. Secondly, you have to understand what subjects you are fluent about, what subjects you are not fluent about. It might be that you need more practice. It might be that you need more vocab. It might be that you need more grammar. It's like if I go to the doctor and say, I have pain, how do I fix this? The doctor will not be able to give me an answer because the doctor will need to diagnose my problem. He'll need to ask me questions. Where is the pain? What kind of pain is it? Have you had it for a long time? Maybe surgery is the right thing for me to do. Maybe medicine is the right thing for me to have, like taking pills. There are so many different answers. What I would say is, for me, Razel, it seems like your language is about B1 in general, and I think you have to develop, if you know a few more grammatical constructions, that can help. If you have a bit more vocab, that can help. What we see with A2, B1 candidates is if they don't have enough vocab and grammar, they are stuck. When somebody asks them a question, the ideas just don't come to their mind because they don't have this level of general English. So I don't have a magic answer like, oh, you should do this. Practice can help. A bit of reading can help, include increasing your vocab and grammar. But my answers here are nothing special. I can't give, my answers will not be better than, Jewel's answers or Darkhan's answers or your answers. You have to understand yourself why you have this problem with fluency. And, maybe if you find a teacher who can diagnose this problem, who can help you to work on this fluency, that's probably the best strategy. I know nobody likes these answers, but that's my honest opinion. If you want to improve grammar, you have to understand your weaknesses and you have to try to fix them. If you want to improve your vocab, you have to understand where you are weak in vocab and try to fix it. It's nothing like, there's no amazing secret to any of this.
Teacher,
Sorry.
can I ask some personal question?
Yeah.
Are you from Britain originally? So, do you originally from Britain? Or maybe you have some Slavic roots?
Do you from?
Yeah, well, are you from? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm from Wales in the UK, but I spent quite a lot of time teaching in Russia, so I speak some Russian. But no, I'm from Wales.
Because you pronounce my name really, really great. So Darkhan. Because
Darkhan?
yes, usually people pronounce it like Dahan or Dargan like this.
Well, we have this letter in Welsh, right? So in Welsh, I have two first languages, Welsh and English. Now, this word is Welsh, chwarae. We have this ch sound in Welsh. So Darkhan, the ch sound, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it sounds so natural when you say Darkhan.
We also have this r in Welsh too, the chwarae, the r,
Just like Kazakh.
Yeah. Any other questions, folks?
So could you give us an approximate score individually, like at which level we are placed right now?
This is tough.
Approximately, it's okay.
Approximately, okay. Ira, I think she's at maybe 8. I think Darhan is at about maybe 7.5. I think Varma, you are at about 6.5. I think Joel, I haven't heard enough from Joel. I think he's probably at 5.56. I think Razel is at about 5.0. And I think Sinvi is also at about 7.0. That's approximately. I don't know for sure,
okay.
but that's
Yeah,
approximate.
okay.
It's
Okay,
so
okay.
encouraging to hear that.
Yeah,
Please don't hate me for any of this.
yeah. It's okay. It's completely okay. Yeah.
No, it's great to hear it.
Yeah, there's always, there's always a subjective element. Like I work as a, I'll turn off the recording now.